inside the Magic Radio box. And our lead this hour, coming from the city of cheesesteaks and tasty cakes and brotherly love, the World Series, the drama, ratcheted up. It was game number 4. Game 4. Did you watch? Were you checking this out, game 4 of the World Series? Maybe not. The Phillies sending Aaron Nola to the mound against the cheating Astros, a disgraced, deplorable bunch who responded with a pitcher named Christian Javier. The crowd was into it. The game scoreless for the first few innings. The Phillies trying to take a 3-1 lead. And how did that go? Well, if you didn't watch the game, you didn't really miss all that much. It was not a memorable night of baseball. The bad guys won this game. And a guy by the name of Christian Javier, the pitcher, and a gaggle of Houston relievers combined to no-hit the good guy Phillies 5-0 in Game 4. So sometimes good things happen to bad people. The World Series is now guaranteed to go back to Texas. It is tied up at 2-2, so it is a best-of-3 situation. My computer-like brain tells me best of 3. And conceivably, if it goes all the way, Game 7, of course, the home field advantage shifts back to the team from Houston. So we knew that Philadelphia was in some trouble here. The moment I had an epiphany that the Phillies were doomed was when I took a phone call in the middle of the night yesterday from a gentleman named Poppy from San Diego, picking with Poppy. And when he said that the Phillies were going to win the game, I immediately knew right then that that was the kiss of death, that this is schlep rock, and they had no chance. Now, regardless of that, don't bury the lead, my man. All right, we're not going to bury the lead. So everyone buzzing about this no-hitter. I've been told by people who make more money than me in the media that we're supposed to genuflect and slobber all over the Astros and Christian Javier because of the no-hitter. Unfortunately, I don't usually follow the talking points memo that gets sent out, so let us discuss the question, thumbs up or thumbs down on Christian Javier's combined no-hitter not being all that impressive. Certainly not as impressive as the other postseason no-hitters. So I'm going 2 thumbs up on that. 2 thumbs up. I've got Boston Marathon, brown bag, and glitch. And we'll combine all of these things together, and we are going to make heartburn, which is what many had watching that depressing outcome in Game 4 of the World Series. So we'll begin here. These combined no-hitters, they feel wrong. They're not what they're cracked up to be. They lack the razzmatazz. And you think of the great moments in playoff history, Don Larson throwing the perfect game for the Yankees against the Dodgers, Doc Holliday, the late Roy Halladay, throwing the no-hitter for the Phillies in the opening playoff game. For him against the Reds years ago. Their legacies have nothing to worry about based on this. Now, this may be an unpopular opinion. I don't really give a crap. I am not impressed with a combined no-hitter. And I'll tell you why, okay? Let me make my pitch why this is not all that impressive. A no-hitter is a test of endurance. This is how I was raised. Right? I guess I'm old school, but no-hitters are an individual act of greatness. You are testing the limits of human athletic performance. Can one individual stand out on the mound and get every hitter out and go through the lineup over and over again and not allow a hit? Right? A collaboration of pitchers throwing a no-hitter is a cheat code to the accomplishment, which is appropriate considering a franchise that is known for cheating, synonymous with dirty baseball, is the one that did it and has done it more than any other franchise. Now, if you don't finish it, we don't think that's all that great. And we're not going to sit here and kiss your ass for the overnight show. We're not doing that. Christian Javier went 6 innings. He tossed 97 pitches and then said, that's it, I'm done, I'm going to exit stage right. He didn't finish what he started. We then saw the conga line of 3 other Houston relief pitchers, bunch of no-names who came in to complete the no-no. It is the equivalent, if you will. Imagine running the Boston Marathon, the iconic Boston Marathon, and you go 17.1 miles. You're leading the Boston Marathon. And then you're like, you know what? I'm going to bring in a replacement runner And then that runner's going to bring in another replacement runner, and then another replacement runner. And I'm bringing 3 other runners in to finish the rest of the 26.2-mile race. It's lame. You'd laugh at that. You'd say that's silly. We don't celebrate that. But somehow in baseball, we're supposed to celebrate. It is the exact same thing that happened here. Javier went 6 of 9 innings, which is 66.6%, which is the equivalent of 17.1 miles in a marathon. So it's the same deal. Now, back when the late Doc Holliday pitched his no-hitter for Philly, he went, they can blow your mind here, 9 innings. Oh, my God, he went 9 innings. He walked 1 batter, had 8 strikeouts, pitched 104 pitches. Don Larson, a little before my time. 9 innings, all right, 9 innings back in the 50s, 7 strikeouts, perfect game, 97 pitches. 97 pitches. And Christian Javier, 97 pitches, and 3 other relievers had to come in. All right, now page 2. Let's get down to business. The better stories in the losing locker room. What the hell went wrong with the Phillies? Do we need to have an intervention? Getting 0 hits only tells you a small part of the story. They came apart at the seams, and I'm talking about in one fateful inning, a foobar effort. And it's time to crank up the old paper mill here. Several Phillies get to brown bag it and wear those brown paper bags with the holes cut out for your eyes and your mouth there in shame. Aaron Nola. What a fraud Aaron Nola is. This guy should never pitch again in the World Series for the Phillies. Never again. I get lit up in game 1. The Phillies bailed him out, came back, right? In this game, he was not up to the task. He needed to put his big boy pants on. Instead, he put a diaper on and soiled the diaper. Nola was juggling hand grenades blindfolded while standing over a blowtorch, right? It was pathetic, and allowed 7 hits in 4 innings, only 67 ineffective pitches for Nola. Now, technically, he wasn't even on the mound when the game absolutely buckled. The bases were loaded. There was nobody out. And the Phillies are like, hey, let's go to the bullpen. We'll bring in this guy, Jose Alvarado. All right, how'd that work out? Don't ask. He came out of the bullpen only to be disemboweled in that inning. That was not a relief appearance. That was a kamikaze mission by Jose Alvarado when he came out of the Phillies bullpen. Bases loaded or not. The first pitch, plunk, to Yordan Alvarez. If you just throw the ball down the middle, the way Yordan Alvarez has been hitting recently, if you throw it down the middle on a tee, he will pop it up and there'll be 1 out. But no, you nail him on the tuchus. What are you doing? And that was actually the highlight of the outing. Alvarado ended up going 1 inning, gave up 2 hits and 5 total runs, although he was only charged with 2 of them because he allowed the runs that he inherited to score from Nola. Now, we can also destroy the regal Phillies lineup, which looked so good in Game 3, and so bad in Game 4. They sucked at a time you cannot suck. And the thing that's maddening, it did remind me a little bit of the Dodgers because they refused to adapt their approach. Very pig-headed watching this game. What they were doing was not working. They were swinging for the downs. And they were unwilling or unable to try to just play a little small ball, get a couple hits here or there, put some pressure on Javier, right? And so, you can't get 3 hits in an inning against Javier. Well, you couldn't get a home run either. So try something else. But what do I know? I just do the overnight show. All right, last word. So we have seen a common storyline bubble up since Game 4 of the World Series ended. It's only been a short time since we saw the game end and cracked the mics here. And the popular theme has been momentum. Oh, my God, the momentum has swung. Oh, like a swing. Momentum. It swung over to the other side. So, for the 7,000th time, I would like to address this right now. Do the Astros have the momentum in the World Series? And I am shaking my head no. And the reason they don't have the momentum is the same reason the Phillies didn't have the momentum after they won Game 3. Momentum, it's going to blow your mind, does not exist. It is fascinating how many grown-ups, especially people that work in the sports media, repeat this garbage, right? The World Series is squared up. It is now a best of 3, as we said. More importantly, Justin Verlander, who blows, is on the mound for the Cheaters versus Noah Syndergaard, who also blows for the Phillies, and what we assume will be a bullpen game. But Verlander has been toxic in the World Series, And yet these bombastic media blowhards are convinced that Houston has all the momentum. The ass, 1,000, 2, 1,000 holes have all the momentum. You would think that these morons would learn, but they never do. They never do. The World Series this year, if anything, it has debunked the silly narrative that the media keeps going back to. Keep going back to the well. Momentum, momentum, momentum. All right, the teams, have you noticed what they've done here? They've alternated wins. The Phillies won game 1. The A-holes won game 2. Phillies win game 3. The A-holes win game 4. So if the pattern continues, the Phillies will win the World Series in 7 games. But momentum is a glitch in the human mind. It is a version of the gambler's fallacy, the reason the casino wins so much, the gambler's fallacy, which is apparently ingrained into the human condition, the erroneous thinking that a certain event is more or less likely to cause a future outcome, right? Because of something that happened. Like, for example, the Phillies winning 7-0. Well, we were told that was momentum, and now it's not. Momentum in sports is not real. It's not. It's an abstract idea that sports writers and media hacks mold into whatever story they want to tell. It's great after the fact. You just toss it in. You toss in momentum. You fill up another paragraph about momentum. The same Rhodes Scholars, again, that told us the cheating Astros have the momentum. We're singing a different song after Game 3. As we said, they just ignore that now because the Phillies ended up losing Game 4. But I am Benny Brightside. The Phillies have shown pliability. They are malleable, right? They can be bent out of shape without cracking. And if you follow the path here, you take care of business in Game 5, you've got 2 more chances to win 1 game. You beat Verlander. Obviously, that's the setup on this. And then you still have another game in your back pocket with Ranger Suarez. And he's really good. He's really, really good. That is a winning formula. And also Zach Wheeler, who should pitch better than he did the last time out. So things are not all that bleak for the Phillies. This was a must-win game for the Cheaters, and so they won. And it's not like you get 2 wins because of a no-hitter. I mean, unless Rob Manfred changed that. Maybe Rob, the clown commissioner of baseball, maybe he changed that. But last I checked, the win, it only counts as like 1. I don't think they gave you 2. I don't think all of a sudden the A-holes are 1 win away from taking the World Series. I don't believe that is the case. Anyway, all right, it is the Ben Maller Show as we roll on through the overnight. But let's hear from some of the key participants here. Rob Thompson, who is that? He's a Canadian. He's also the Phillies manager. And he points out that the Phillies have a history when it comes to the no-hitter.
We were no-hit earlier in the year in New York against the Mets, and we came back the next day and won. So these guys, they got a short memory, and they're going to go home tonight, and they're going to go to bed and come back in here tomorrow and prep and compete like they always do.
Oh. So if you thought the Phillies were going to give up now and say we can't win because we got no hit, apparently that's not the case. Nick Castellanos, who's played better in the playoffs than he does during the regular season somehow. You'll hear the question and the answer here, and again, the theme is being no-hit.
You guys have bounced back from loss tonight going into tomorrow night.
Exactly that. It's over with. I've forgotten about it, and now it's just setting your sights on tomorrow and getting ready to go.
What are you expecting in the final home game here this year at the Bank?
Well, I do know that we're going to be ready, and we're going to give it everything we got. And I know the city's going to be behind us. All
right. Well, I'm glad they're going to be ready. I'm good because it didn't appear they were ready in this game. Anyway, and he's lying when he says he's already forgotten. That's a lie. Anyway, Kyle Schwarber, the chubby Kyle Schwarber, I can go on more derogatory terms. But anyway, here's Schwarber. You'll hear the question and the answer again, all about being no hit in the World Series.
Just to be part of this end of baseball history, just how does it feel when you realize that this is just the second World Series no?
Yeah, I really don't give No, move on to tomorrow. It's cool. We'll be in the history books, I guess.
Not the answer they were hoping for. All right, it is the Maller Show, the Ben Maller Show. If you want to be part, 877-99 on Fox is the